Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Find Your Fall CSA event. We're very excited to be joined with Elizabeth Ray today, the dietitian nutritionist. She's going to be sharing all of her tips and tricks for fall foods. So we are excited to get started, and I want to introduce myself first. My name is Katie Harvey. I'm the CSA program coordinator for the Organic Association of Kentucky. We are co-organizing a week-long CSA promotion with Bluegrass Farm to Table, Edible Kentucky Magazine, Kentucky Horticulture Council, Kentucky Department of Agriculture, and Kentucky Proud this week, and featuring so many farms. So if you're not already familiar, I just want to share a bit more about this event and how you can learn more. So you can go to our Facebook page. The CSAs in Kentucky Facebook page will drop in a link to the chat, and you will see over 30 farms featured this week and their CSA offerings that you can sign up for this month in September, October, and November. And it's a wide range of CSA shares that will be for meat, for eggs, for produce, and other value-added farm products. And you can see a full list of all the partner farms on the Kentucky Proud CSA directory. So we'll also drop in a link to the chat there. On the desktop version of this directory, you can navigate by county and see farms that are close to you that you can support. And then for those that aren't familiar, I just want to do a short overview of CSA. It stands for Community Supported Agriculture and is a subscription-based model. So if you're new to CSA and looking to plug in, this is a local food subscription that you can purchase on a weekly, biweekly, or monthly basis, depending on the farm. And it's a shared risk and reward in the growing season. So normally you're paying for that subscription upfront ahead of the starting point, and then you're receiving a weekly box from that farm and getting really great fresh access to local foods that are harvested within that day or the day before, if we're talking about produce, and grown with sustainable practices. So you have that opportunity to talk to the farm more about how they're raising their products and learn more about food and just different things that are grown in your area. And it makes a big impact. So every CSA dollar you're purchasing is going directly to that farm. So you can learn more at Find Your Fall CSA event. We've got a Facebook event. We've got a Facebook group. Today we're titling this event, Ask the Farmers Market Nutritionist. So we have Elizabeth Ray here to talk about the benefits of local foods. She's going to be sharing lots of storage tips about fall vegetables and some simple recipes you can use with seasonal ingredients. We want everyone to ask questions, so feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat. And I want to quickly introduce Elizabeth Ray, and then I'll let her share a bit more about herself as well. For almost 20 years, Elizabeth has worked as a dietitian nutritionist, solving nutrition problems and empowering her clients. Because of her love for people and real food from the farm, she started developing nutrition resources. And her goal is to help people navigate the farmers market, navigate their CSA share with success. Elizabeth believes it's better to pay the farmer than the pharmacist, and health is an investment, not a cost. So whole food has the power to change your life. And we're going to be talking lots about the power of whole foods today and all the different foods you can purchase from a local farm. And she is a nutrition coach, a recipe creator, a farmer friend and advocate, and creator of the Farmers Market Nutritionist blog. So Elizabeth, I'll let you share a little bit more about that endeavor, and we'll talk about local foods as well.
Thank you. Hi there. So I'm Elizabeth. Yes, I am a dietitian nutritionist. And where this started and how I became the Farmers Market Nutritionist was I've always gone to the farmers market. And a few years back, I started going obviously on Saturday mornings because that's when I would go. And I would pick stuff up and then I would flip it. I would make something out of it and I would show like before and after pictures socially. And people loved it. Like they just raved about it. And so I'd gotten in touch with the paper, my local newspaper, and they loved what I was doing. So I just, started writing for the paper once a month and showing these recipes in the newspaper. And then I started hearing from people They're like, well, I don't get the newspaper. So then I decided, okay, it's time to start a blog. It's time to start a landing page for people to go to. And so in the spring, this spring, I have started the Farmers Market Nutritionist.com blog. It's a baby blog, but there are some good resources on there right now. And I'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end as well. But today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look into my fridge. Is it time for that, ladies?
Oh, no, we can just stop this and we can circle back to it. That's perfect.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look in my fridge. And I just want to give you guys some storage tips here because I feel like this is, I mean, of course, when you buy something from the market, you want it to stay and last. But two, as a dietitian nutritionist, I want you to be safe in how you're storing your food. So first thing, I do belong to a CSA. I don't always get meat from them. That's not included in the box, but I do get my meat from my farmer friends and my farmers market vendors. And so with the meat, I don't know if you guys can see, but in this drawer down here at the very bottom, I store my meat and I store my eggs. And, a lot of times when you buy that meat or you get that meat in your box, it comes frozen. And so I encourage you guys to take that frozen meat and put it in a plastic bag and wrap it up and de-thaw it on this bottom shelf. Okay, so no matter what kind of refrigerator you have, if you have one like this or a different kind, I suggest always putting the meat on the bottom because if you were to have any leakage, you don't have to worry about it getting out onto any of your fresh produce. Same thing with your eggs. Okay, you're going to have to cook your eggs if one of them happens to break. But I bet you if you're buying them from your farmer, those shells are going to be a lot more dense than those eggs from, say the store. So again, I store this down on the bottom just to be safe. Okay. The other thing I store down towards the bottom, and this helps my family know where things are. This drawer over here beside the meat, the raw meat side and egg side, that's where I will put in cheese. I'll put in my butter. If we have any lunch meat, I'll put that in there as well. And so my family just knows where that is. Again, separate from the rest of the fresh food. Okay. Something else you might notice that I store in my refrigerator, I do get fresh ground peanut butter. Okay, from a farm market stand that's here local in my town. So I also store that in my refrigerator. Now, it doesn't say I have to store it in the refrigerator, but I do. I just like the cooler, temperature of it. I feel like it keeps a little bit better as well when I keep it in the fridge. So I'll keep those fresh ground peanut butters in here. I also, you can see this is not much of a loaf of bread anymore, but I also keep breads in here as well. Again, these breads are freshly baked. They don't have preservatives in them. So I don't want to buy fresh bread and then, come to find out a few days later that it's molded. So I also do that as well. And you can hear my fridge beeping at me. It's saying to close. So I'm going to close it for a little bit, but you notice before I close it, you notice this middle shelf, I have a bunch of vegetables here. Okay, so this is where I store all my raw vegetables that I would get from my CSA. And let's talk about that. You can see here, like earlier in the season, this was filled up with strawberries. And so sometimes I will recycle containers and I will use them for other, repurposing things. So here I've got a bunch of peppers because right now it's like in the area that I'm in, I'm still getting peppers and then jalapeno peppers, like I said, bell peppers. And this is just a good place to kind of keep them stored so they don't just roll all over my fridge. And then, next month I find there's a jalapeno pepper that's dropped down and So it just kind of helps me, of course, repurpose a really good container, but also to keep everything in one place and organized. So this is really helpful. So I do that as well. You can see here, I've done that too with, these are salad greens. So again, these are not dates. Okay. So I've just recycled this date container. Again, it's a great container. It keeps my salad greens really good and fresh. You can see there, isn't that pretty? And I picked this up on Saturday. So this is crazy how good this is. So yeah, any kind of salad greens, I make sure that I keep those airtight. And again, this date container works really good. So yeah, the eco-friendly, that's right. That's right. That's part of the purpose here. And you can see here now, I did not use a container. These are mustard greens, but I have them tied off pretty tight. Okay. Again, just, they'll stay a little bit longer. And I got these on Saturday. So it's been hard to hold out. I knew I was doing this, and it's been hard to hold out on some of these greens, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of the freshness you can get if you're storing these vegetables in this way. So again, you can see I've got, again, some more kale here too, wrapped up in those containers. So another tip, and I don't have any of these just because, again, I'm waiting for them to come into season. Like, I'm ready for it to be here. But in this area right now, you can see in this picture, I've got carrots, I've got kohlrabi, I also have turnips and then radishes. And so this was one of my pickups last year that I got. This is everything that came in my box. And so one of the things that I try to encourage people, because right now my box is through Modern Heritage Farm, and I get the privilege to moderate their Facebook group, which I love. So I always try to tell those folks that are in the group, like, hey, you can eat those leaves. Okay, you can eat those leaves and you can eat those roots. Okay, so we're gonna like maximize the as much nutrition as we can get out of these awesomely grown vegetables that are local. And so one of the things that you can do is you can take a knife and of course remove the roots, and you can see the carrots here. Is I would just remove the carrots from the tops. Now I'm going to hold this a little bit closer. You can see that the tops, and again, I wanted to have this live, but we just didn't have this right now in our area. So this is the best. I had taken like a wet paper towel and just put a little bit of moisture in there and then wrap those up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, yes, yeah. And same with the roots there. Just tied those up and then stored those in a really cold place in the refrigerator. And down here at the bottom, you can see it says 4 days later here, but it really is 5 days later. You can see how all the roots are really great, and too, the leaves are really great. And yes, this is a freebie for coming today. Okay, so make sure that you go and get this. All right, there's a link, I believe, down in the chat. So this is a freebie for just coming, so that you can really utilize all of the vegetables that you're getting. One of the biggest questions I get, especially for carrot tops, because people say, well, how can I use this? There is a carrot top pesto. You can just Google it and it comes up. It's great. It's a wonderful recipe. And so that's a really fun one for those carrot tops. And then when it comes to the other greens, okay, whether it's a kohlrabi green or radish green, turnip green, you can saute them like you would kale, collards, or anything like that, or mustard greens, and they work fantastic. So don't think that you cannot use the whole plant. And really the leaves of those root vegetables are like super nutritious. Again, talking to Modern Heritage Farm, they've taught me, which is amazing. I love that partnership that I get to learn from them. They've taught me that a lot of the nutrients grow up into those leaves. So by no means feel like you have to throw those out at all. So yeah, yes, the pesto sauce, I saw that in the comments. Yeah, the pesto sauce, you can just Google it and it comes up. I wish I could say it's my recipe, but it's not. But it's a fabulous recipe, and it's really great. I don't even like pesto sauce, and I like that recipe. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we got that. So just going back into my fridge. Again, you can see my raw vegetable storage is here. And then up top, I have some bowls that are wrapped. They're glass bowls and then wrapped with foil. This is where I keep anything prepared. So this is ground beef. And then this is some pasta that I made earlier in the week. And so I keep this up top here. So again, I don't get any contamination from anything else in my fridge. And so this is how I organize my fridge. You can also see here on the door, usually beverages come here, and I am so excited to pick up this apple cider. I love fall. I love all the vegetables and fruits that come in. But my beverages here, my hot sauce is here, and then any of my jams and jellies here as well. So again, it gives a little bit of organization. My family knows where things are. You can see I store like raw nuts in there as well, just to keep them longer. Again, the coolness helps preserve that food a little bit longer. The last thing I want to show you guys is this. Again, you can do this in your regular refrigerator. Don't feel like you have to have this type of refrigerator. But another thing I also store in the fridge and if you guys can see here, I have a few apples. You can see not very many. They get eaten pretty quick. I also have my lemons here. And then also I like to store onions and any type of garlic also in here as well. They seem to keep a little bit better. Now, again, I will keep a crisper, temperature down here in this bottom drawer than I would up in this top part, just to keep a lot of the moisture out. And so that is a quick tour of how I store my vegetables. I know we also talked about, there's going to be in the description of today's event, recipes, and I do have some recipes available. So again, going back to my website, when you sign up for my newsletter, you get 2 freebies for that too. So of course you get 9 questions to ask your farmer. I feel like it's just really helpful to connect you, not just with your farmer, but also really with your food. And again, that's why I'm such a big advocate for buying your food locally grown, is that you are connecting to people, but you're also connecting to your food. Oh, I see a question. Why store your nuts in a refrigerator? Because they keep longer. The fats that are in nuts, they can become rancid. So you can keep them in your pantry. Like I have a pantry just over here. You can keep them in the pantry, but if you want to preserve the oil that's in those nuts and keep them a little bit longer, especially in like a raw nut, keep them in the fridge. Okay. So I hope that answers that question. And so going back to the recipe, and again, the freebie, that whenever you sign up for my e-newsletter from my website, farmersmarketnutritionist.com, of course, you get these 9 questions to ask your farmer. And again, it's not meant to it's not like an interview. Again, it's just like conversation so that you can connect to your food and to your farmer. And then the other freebie that you get is the skillet meal, and it's a really great skillet meal. It's super easy. It's done in like 30 minutes. In this recipe, I did include some like frozen zucchini noodles, but you can obviously do your own if you would want that too. But pretty much everything that's listed here, I could get at my farmer's market, including marinara sauce. I can pick that up. no problem. So really great, easy recipe. It is a Cincinnati style pumpkin chili. It's really great. And then on the back, again, with this resource, it talks about the benefits of vitamin C in terms of boosting your immunity, but it also talks about iron absorption as well. So a little bit of the dietitian came out on the back of this resource here. So again, if you guys are wanting some recipes, head on over to my blog. I've got some on there, but if you're wanting this one in particularly, sign up for my newsletter. So that's about it. I wanted to make it short and sweet today. So thank you guys.
No, absolutely, Elizabeth. This is great. And we had one more other question come through, and then I feel like we might have a few more. But
Okay.
Mackenzie was wondering, in terms of storing like salad greens or lettuces, do you ever do the method where you're maybe wrapping it in like a cold paper towel with like a bag? Have you heard of that one as like another option for
Yes.
lettuce? Like how
Yes.
to be particular?
Yeah, you can on this handout here. You can put a damp paper towel in there just to help with the moisture. Yes, you can, but definitely keep it airtight. That's for sure.
Okay. And sometimes I sometimes will keep it a little bit looser, but you feel like it just kind of stores a bit better, like when it's totally tight.
Yeah. Because sometimes, and I'll tell you, being the moderator for that Modern Heritage Farm group, I always take a picture. Like every day I get I pick up my box on Saturday. I come home, I take a picture for the group. And there have been some times where those greens, I didn't seal back all the way. And they're like real, they're not bad, but they're just a little bit wilty. And so if I keep everything real tight, airtight, especially when it comes to those green leafy things, it's just so much better.
It helps. Yeah.
Oh, and one other thing I didn't say, but really to get the benefit out of these fresh vegetables, it's really good to not go past 5 days. Now I've gone past the time that I usually like with my basket, but I really try to eat those vegetables as quickly as possible. So again, because it's not, do I want to store something for a long time? Yes, but I'm buying this fresh food so that I can really reap the benefits of it, hitting my body and making me healthy. So yeah, try to eat it within 5 days if you can.
No, absolutely. And that kind of goes with like kind of the health benefits of buying local unseasoned produce. I was going to pull back up that slide, and I know you have a lot of great resources about these reasons on your blog, but if you could kind of give people a short summary of some of those, just when they're thinking about purchasing products in a CSA share or at the farmer's market, what are some of those health benefits of purchasing local?
Yeah. So again, as far as the freshness, if we're going to compare, a farmer, okay, particularly let's compare my CSA farmers. Okay. They literally go in and they harvest those vegetables, and then next day they're in my box. Whereas if I were to go to the grocery store, who knows when those vegetables were harvested. And unfortunately, if you're buying conventionally grown produce, it's probably also treated with maybe a wax or a food coloring so that it looks good, but it's very, it's kind of tricky when it comes to that conventionally grown food. And that's why sometimes it looks better and it keeps better because it's had things done to it. And it doesn't have to be talked about. So again, when you're buying vegetables, when you're buying produce, just know that freshness, they're harvesting it from the field. And even if you're buying from a farmer, like say for instance, your meat from someone or your eggs from someone, again, when that animal is gone to be butchered and they freeze that meat, again, all that nutrition stays in there. It's frozen. As far as eggs, again, my farmers are going out and harvesting those eggs that week. So I know I'm getting fresh eggs. It's not been in a refrigerator, like a huge refrigerator for days and days and weeks and months. But so the freshness, if we're going to compare a store-bought product over something you're going to get at the farmer's market. It's
Yeah.
basically from the field to you.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be super fresh.
Yeah, and I'll keep this slide up, but we had a question come through the chat, which was just like, if you're maybe a family of 2 and you really want to support, you want to get a CSA share, or you're buying a lot from the farmer's market, but you're kind of having a hard time working through all the things that you're purchasing. Do you have any maybe suggestions for how to a recipe that you like that really uses, like, I call them a kitchen sink recipe, where you can toss what are your go-tos, use up a lot of vegetables or use up a lot of product at once, for folks that might need some suggestion. Yeah. Oh, and having a hard time. Looks like you might be frozen just a tiny bit, Elizabeth, on my end. Oh no. Elizabeth, I'm just going to give it 1 second, everybody, if you're having some, let's see. I think, Elizabeth, you're coming back online, but it's still just a tiny bit wobbly. Yeah, if you want to turn off your video for just a sec, that might work.
Okay. Yay.
Hey, Katie, we could go ahead and do the survey maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Elizabeth. We're just going to give it a couple more seconds, and then we do have an event survey. So we would love your feedback. We, the Find Your Fall CSA event and Oak are always trying to improve these live events and provide meaningful resources. So we'll drop that survey into the chat, and appreciate any feedback there. Oh, Elizabeth, I think we can hear you now. Oh no.
Yay. Okay. All right. So to go to that question, can you not hear me? Oh
no. No, I think I gotcha.
Okay. You got me?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe turn off your video. I think it's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's just going in.
Okay.
And a tiny bit.
So to quickly answer that question, okay. So you guys can hear me though, correct? Oh. Uh-oh.
Yes, I can hear you, Elizabeth. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. So to answer that question, my go-to recipes, of course, like a stir fry works good. And that's great. But another one I just love are to make these egg recipes. I will use sheet pan and do a sheet pan egg, where it's like a baked omelet. And you can cut it out in squares and put it on a sandwich, put it on a salad.
Yeah.
I'll do little egg muffins the same way. If I don't have a whole lot of use my muffin tin and make this like little egg muffins. For me, a lot of times I'll do some kind of like egg casserole, because I don't know, egg casseroles or egg souffles, they're just, I don't know, it's like comfort food for me. So those are the things I do. In the winter, I'll obviously do a lot of soups. And then another thing you can do, it depends on if you have vegetable eaters in your house or not. But I have found that if I mince some of the vegetables, I make them very, very small and I mince them up, I can sneak them in to certain dishes and my family doesn't know. And so that's another tip.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a great. Do you have any go-tos? Like, I know sometimes frittata is easy for that. Like you mentioned, egg dishes for hiding some veggies, or people love like zucchini brownies, things like that.
Yes. Yeah. So one of the ones I did and my family didn't really know is I made like these little miniature pumpkin pies, and I had some like, I just had to chop it up really, really tiny. It was, what am I trying to say? It was some greens that I had, and they had no idea. So I got that hidden. And then another one that I find is super easy are any type of like a mashed potato, because it's, you know, there's so many other flavors in there, like butter and milk, and then I'll sometimes put
Yeah.
cheese in there. It can take over if I put in some extra things, some fresh herbs. It works out good.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. Also sauces. That's the other really great one. Like your spaghetti sauces. I'll do that as well, like a marinara sauce. Again, it's so tomato forward. A lot of times they won't catch the other things that are in there. So that's another great one too.
Yeah,
to sneak in some stuff.
Absolutely. Sneaking in veggies, right? For the whole family.
If you guys can still hear me, I'll go ahead and we've talked about the freshness of food from the farm. Can you still hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
If you want to do a quick.
Now my kids have figured it out. Like I've done this, but they're still okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, I might go back to that slide, Elizabeth, but we might just do like a short wrap up. So everybody, thanks so much for joining us for this Find Your Fall CSA event. I'm gonna let Elizabeth do a short recap of the It's Better Local slide that we shared, and then we'll share just a few more resources and we'll hop off here. But hope that you're tuning in the rest of the week for some great farmer posts. So Elizabeth, do you see my screen okay?
I do. Can you hear me okay?
It's just a tiny bit wobbly.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
And just
okay. I'm gonna go again. Can you hear me okay?
I think
it's cutting. See you guys.
Yeah, it's cutting out a little bit. So I think we might just unfortunately have to wrap up, but we have that slide up. So just kind of really reiterating the relationship when you're buying locally and the quality and just kind of the transparency, how your food's being grown and all the work that goes into it. And we can definitely continue this conversation and maybe have a little bit more conversation in our Facebook group, but we just want to encourage everyone to check out the CSAs in Kentucky Facebook group, check out the CSA directory, sign up for a fall share, and then definitely get in touch with Elizabeth. You can follow her on Facebook or Instagram at the Farmers Market Nutritionist and ask her more questions there. You can sign up for her newsletter to get those freebies she mentioned, as well as visiting her blog. She's got lots of great resources and recipes there. We're so excited to have you, Elizabeth. Thanks so much for taking us on a tour of your fridge. I know we had several folks in the comments say they were taking notes.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it. And thank you all. We hope you have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.